According to the United Nations, there are 1.1 billion girls in the world, and about 600 million of that figure are aged between 10 and 19 years.
Well, every 10 minutes, somewhere in the world, an adolescent girl dies as a result of abuse and violence. It's International Day of the Girl Child today, and the theme for this year is Empower Girls Before, During and After Conflict. International Day of the Girl Child is celebrated annually on October the 11th to highlight issues concerning the gender inequality facing young girls.
And so today we will be spotlighting issues affecting the girl child. It's no news that the girl child suffers discrimination and gender inequality. While most are denied access to education and forced into early marriages, others face violence and live in fear on a daily basis.
Adolescent girls in conflict zones are 90% more likely to be out of school when compared to girls in conflict-free countries, which affects their future prospects for work and financial independence as adults. And we have in the studio with us at this time social empowerment advocate and UNICEF consultant Taiwo Akinlami. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, joining us via Skype from the United Kingdom is the Executive Director, Child Health Advocacy Initiative, Lola Alonge. Good morning to you, Lola.
Morning.
All right, let me start with you, Taiwo. Does the typical Nigerian girl child have cause to celebrate today?
Well, that is a symposium discussion. It's not a question we can find adjective to describe right now, because 48% of the Nigerian girls today are married out before they are 18 years old. Now, 10.5 million Nigerian children are out of school. Majority of them are children. Now, when it comes to conflict, which is the focus of today's marking of the Day of International Girl Child. When it comes to conflict, children, the girl child is more affected in terms of being used as suicide bombers, in terms of being out of school because of conflict. Most importantly, sanitary issue, health issues are also there. So when we look at all of this and considering the fact that as it is today, there appears not to be concrete plan on ground to alleviate the state of the Nigerian girl child. So if we are going to celebrate, if the Nigerian girl is going to celebrate, it can be a celebration in hope of a better future, of the fact that you and I, every individual today, who occupy the role of caregivers, are going to take this discussion further than today and make sure that the rights of children, particularly the girl child, are brought to the front burner of public discourse, so that it will not be a yearly affair alone. It will be an affair that will be discussed on a daily basis. So on that note, I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. And so if the Nigerian child is going to celebrate the girl child, it will be because of a hope for a better future. Because when there's life, there is hope. Of course.
Lola Alonge, I wonder what you think. Does the Nigerian girl have hope really? What really to you is the biggest challenge the Nigerian girl faces today?
Yeah, I'll follow up from what Mr. Kilami just said. I want to say there is hope for the Nigerian child. And that's why I'm using this opportunity to say every girl out there should be bold, should be brave, should make sure they can achieve and believe that they can be change agents and make an impact in their family, in the nation, and the world at large. Why? Well, there's a lot of focus on the girl child, and that is why a day like this has been set aside. I talked about it. We've not had anything like the Day of the boy child, which means the world is focusing on how to uplift the girl. And of course, I wouldn't say Nigeria is an exception. They're also trying to see what they can do as well. And that is why we're actually trying to put in so much effort and talk about these issues today. What's the status of the Nigerian child?
Yes.
When it comes to issues like education, well, it's not the best for now, especially in the Northeast. But I believe the government is making efforts. And obviously, it doesn't just start with the government, but of course from the family. Which means, are we as parents, as families, giving priority to the girl child? Are we making sure they're in school? Are we supporting child marriage? But of course, it seems that there's a change. There's a shift. The narrative is changing. The girl child is now coming up. We have cases, of course, we have Malala, who is presently in Oxford University. In Nigeria, we have Oduwole, a young girl. And I want to believe there should be more of them coming up, which means there's hope for the girl child in Nigeria.
But then it's quite alarming, really, to know that conflict plays an important role in changing the prospects of the girl child, really. When you compare the girl child in conflict areas to that in a conflict-free area. So conflict and how to manage girls in these regions.
Yeah, it's quite sad. That's what we're actually experiencing in Nigeria. And I'm happy with the theme today, which is we must empower girls before, during, and even after emergencies and conflicts like we're experiencing here, which means the girls in the Northeast most especially should not be neglected. I know they're like building schools, encouraging them to go back to school and all that. But even those who are still there, because I got some report from UNICEF, some of those who are living out of the camps, they don't have access to education. And most of them are like either just get married, they seem to be losing hope. But this is a wake-up call to our government, that these girls need to be in school. Statistics shows the girls are over 50%, they're about 50% of the population. These same girls are the ones who are going to come and be mothers tomorrow. They are the ones who are going to bring up children for this nation. So if we neglect them, then we're neglecting the nation. There's a saying that when any kind of exploitation against the girl child is like, you're like missing or losing making the country go backwards, which means we must put all hands must be on deck to make sure there's support for the girl child in Nigeria.
Absolutely. Let me bring it to Taiwo Akinlami here. Now, the girl child has been described as having limitless potential, but the real challenge is it's not even on the front burner of discourse anywhere, whether in Nigeria or not. So empowering the girl child before and after and all of that. Is it as good as the paper it's written on?
Because it has a ripple effect when you empower the girl child.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, our word appears messed up when it comes to setting our priorities right. Gender is not a disadvantage. Gender is a function of role. The man plays a role, the woman plays a role. But somewhere in the thinking of our world, we begin to believe that people should be classified on the basis of their gender. You see a man who has children, and you ask him, how many children do you have? He says 5 girls, as if girls are not children. A woman told me a pathetic story of how she believed her husband loved her, and one day her husband slumped, and they had 2 girls, and her husband slumped, and no sooner than the husband was buried, the family of the husband showed up with a boy and said that this boy is the real son. And before the Supreme Court of Nigeria now ruled that the girl child can inherit recently, you find out that particularly from the eastern part of the country, it is difficult for a girl child to inherit. So if a small boy who was born yesterday, who is the younger brother, becomes automatically the one who has the lead right to inherit until the Supreme Court reversed that recently. So the question therefore is, it is important that we begin to hold discussions. We need to change the narrative. We need to change our conversation so that the narrative can change. This is the issue.
Where should that conversation start?
I believe that the conversation should start from the family. Let me give you an example. Now, the girl child is raised as a child under hostage. Now, this is what I mean. A girl child and the boy child are playing. Then the mother comes and says, my friend, go to the kitchen. You two, one day you will get married. And also you create the impression for the girl child from that childhood age that the responsibility to make a marriage work is the responsibility of the girl child, of the woman. That is why many women are enduring domestic violence in the homes today. They are not able to speak up. Why? Because when they were growing up, the parents had drummed it in and in again that it is the responsibility of the girl child, of the woman, to make a marriage work. So it seems that's why you see women saying things like, I don't mind if my husband has girlfriend as long as I don't know. These are critical issues. These are conversations that we need to go back to and begin to change our conversation so that we can revisit our narrative.
Yes, it seems that religion and cultural beliefs also play have real impacts on the way the girl child is raised and
Yes.
the kind of beliefs she gets to have in the society she's raised in.
Yes.
So how important is it really for the government to change this narrative? It's very impressive, really.
Yes.
Talking about the Supreme Court's ruling on
the government has
rights
a
of
role
the
to
girl.
play. But you see, when it comes to wing of protection, the family is number one, followed by the community, followed by the state, then international community. Now, what the government needs to do is to empower the family, is to empower the community, so that the community and the family can play the role they are really set up to play. Now, a government does not have direct access to a people except through a family. So, except through the community. Whatever the government wants to say now, if the government is speaking in Alausa, for example, it does not go beyond the 4 walls of Alausa until the government invites the press. Now, so the press belongs to the community. So if we empower the press, we empower the family, we empower everybody around the children to understand what the issues are. I think the first thing we need to change is our belief system. Our deep-seated belief system, very backward, that believes that marriage should come on the basis of gender. Someone has just been promoted as deputy governor of Central Bank, and what people are talking about is how did she get there? What's her merit and all of that. Somebody who has worked, who has acquired a place on merit. If it was a man that was appointed at 39, nobody would raise an eyebrow. But because she's a woman, you have to look at it. People will say, that a woman cannot talk to me like that.
In fact, I have your type at home.
Yes, he's not concerned about what the person is saying. He's concerned about the fact that he's a woman that is saying it. Is it a crime to be a woman? I think these are conversations we need to continue to have.
All right. Lola Longe, I wonder what you have to say about what Taiwo has just mentioned now. But then again, where do you draw the line between the role that nature has given to each gender, whether it's a female or the male, and the role or reward system that society says that each can actually have?
Yeah, I would just start with when a woman gives birth, and it's like, oh, is it a boy or a girl? And when they say it's a girl, it's like, oh, and it's a boy, oh, great. That's like our mindset, which is quite sad. And that's why the role of the family is very key when it comes to the role of the girl child and how the girl child is actually going to rise and be actually respected. So when we look at that, we must start from the family. Which, like, what kind of, are you encouraging the girl child? Are you allowing them to be in school? Are you making them feel inferior at home? Have you been able to build up their confidence and let them know they can be what they want to be? They can aspire, they can rise, they can succeed. And that goes to even the way the society perceives them. For example, we've been talking about family and, of course, the community, the role of the traditional rulers, the role of the religious leaders. What are you preaching? What are you saying to the woman? What are you saying about the girl child? How are you making the society, what do you make the society feel about it? So, which means we have a lot to do from the family, from the community. The traditional rulers, religious leaders must be able to come out to support women, to encourage them, and let everyone believe a woman is not inferior to the man. And of course, a girl can be whoever she wants to be.
The Nigerian girl has been described as an endangered species from facing escalating sexual attacks or threats to child marriage, violence, FGM, and all manner of things.
In fact, it's almost the same plight the African child faces, just like the Nigerian child. In Tanzania, a cow is more valuable than a girl child.
Really sad one.
Yes.
Before we get back to our guests, let's bring Foladele in. Foladele, good to see you again.
Welcome back.
Good to see you again, ladies. Good morning, Taiwo.
What are Nigerians saying?
And I must say, Taiwo, it's very interesting to see a man at the forefront of the girl-child discussion, because that's rare on this side of the world. Okay, so let's find out what people are saying. Jenny Okafo says, girl-child illiteracy in northern Nigeria. Thank God that someone has the decency to admit this is unacceptable. North will soon change. Sadat Bibire says, I have a dream where the girl child will be actively involved in the growth of the Nigerian economy through skill acquisition. G. Abibo says, the reality in Nigeria and Africa is that the boy child is almost always preferred to the girl child. Official G. Flame says, education is what every girl child and male child need, black or white, poor or rich, it doesn't matter. Last one here from God Picking says all NGOs in Nigeria talk about girl child. Who will even talk for the boy child? I mean, they don't need protection too. Just thinking, okay, Taiwo, maybe I'll have you take on this one. So, you know, he's saying, why do we always talk about the girl child? Why aren't we talking about?
Well, we don't always talk about the girl child. We talk about children. But it is also important to know that in the society, there is a lot of inequality. In every society, in some societies, there's racial inequality. In some societies, there's gender inequality. I've seen people who are supposed to be exposed, who travel, who have gone all over the world, but deep-seated, they still believe that a girl child is inferior to a boy child. Despite all that women have done, all they have achieved in our world today, there are still some men who believe that women are not up to par with them. Now they forget that all of us are here to play a role. The girl is here to play a role, the boy is here to play a role. Gender is about role playing. It's nothing more than that. It's not about superiority or inferiority. Now, some men still believe today, you know, that their wives are their properties. Some men still believe that when both of you are career people, you return from work, it is the woman that should enter the kitchen to do the cooking. So you have to differentiate whether you married a woman or you married a cook. All of those things are issues that need to come to the front burner of discussion.
But some will tell you those are roles that the women actually are supposed to play. But that's
and that our parents play,
yes,
that our mothers play.
So follow your question for Lola.
Yes, Lola. Well, actually, Lola, I'll have you take this one on as well. Lola, what do you think about, you know, the question I asked Taiwan, what he's had to say about it? The boy child, the girl child. I mean, why are we talking so much about the girl child and not so much about the boy child? That's what someone's asking.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, really. Like we've said, the role of the girl child in the African context. In Nigeria, I'm supporting everything Mr. Kilari said there, which means we need to change the narrative. It's not like the girl is the one that has to be inferior, the girl has to do all the work, the girl is at advantage, there's inequality, there's discrimination, there's violence. Why? Why the girl child? That's why we need to start making moves now, starting from the family, starting from the community. I'm happy. As a man, like you said, and people have said, he's the one championing even the cause of the woman. We need the he for she campaign. We need men out there. We need fathers out there. We need boys out there to come up and speak for the girl child. They need to be protected. They are not supposed to be seen as slaves. They are not supposed to be seen as inferior. They are not supposed to be saddled with so much responsibility that even when it comes to decisions of, oh, who is going to go to school, it's like, oh, it's only the boy. He's going to do all the work.
We'll have to leave it there. I'm reminded of a song that says, I'm not your superwoman.
Yes,
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and Lola Longa, thank you so much for your contribution.
All right.
And of course, for Daily.
Thank you, lady.